out there on different time zones. Whatever, good afternoon, good evening to them. Welcome to Kwerious 2.0 V2 webinar. Today, the agenda will be to go over a little bit of what Kwerious is, and we'll discuss in detail about what the need for Kwerious is in today's classroom, and then we'll talk a little bit about uh, uh, what what features Queries offers, and of course, all the features will be available, and we'll use them during the webinar. And you can see them and evaluate them how you can use them in your classrooms today. So before I begin, here's the link, and here's the join key. You might not need this link if you have signed up in Eventbrite, because the link is right there and you just have to click it. But you might also see the link inside the YouTube description if you're joining us on YouTube live streaming. So it should be, the link should be in the description as well, so you can click that and join us. We also have Microsoft Teams to interact with you guys one-on-one in person. So if you join Microsoft Teams, I'll see you here, and then we can start admitting you guys. For some reason, Microsoft Teams is down for one person this morning, so we can't change the setting to allow you to join us right off the bat, so you don't have to wait. So yeah, I'll keep in mind, check from time to time, and see if there's anyone that I can admit. So let's give it a couple of seconds more so people can start joining in on YouTube streaming or Microsoft Teams if you're enrolled on Eventbrite. Just to inform you guys, welcome Deepak. Deepak is among us as the newest member of Kwerious, and he is here to address any concerns that you might have that we might require input from him for. looks like the microphone is on. If you can hear me now on YouTube. Waiting for a little bit of confirmation here to see if I'm hearable on YouTube. And Microsoft Teams might be having a little bit of trouble, so I'll join back in. Let's see. So, can you guys hear me now?
Hi Raju. Yes.
Yes, okay. So, welcome Deepak. So, it looks like the microphone has resolved now. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, I hope that everyone had the chance to join us on Kwerious. So, let's dive right in. So, let me begin here by telling you a real story about Kwerious. So, I was in my first year in my university and I went to my physics lecture. And of course, as with all the classrooms nowadays, there were a lot of students there, and we had difficulty even, we were very shy to even raise hands to ask anything. So I thought, okay, let's wait it out after the class and I'll ask the professor in person. And then, of course, eventually I just forgot about the question and that's the end of it. So what happens as students? As students or as any audience, we face a lot of trouble in raising our hands because we have a lot of thoughts that are going through our heads. It could be as simple as, is my question stupid? Or the whole class is watching, of course, and I don't want to make a fool of myself in front of all my peers and all my friends. And all my friends are watching. All these thoughts keep on going through the heads, and we eventually decide not to even raise our hands to ask anything inside the classroom. Just listen to the lecture, take notes, and that's it. So, what are the conventional ways that we have in the classroom? It is just students are left on their own. They have to raise their hands to ask anything and engage in the classroom. So we thought, okay, let's do a thing. Why not we survey students and we judge their problems in the classrooms nowadays? And we were fortunate enough to do a survey in 2020, and we did about 100 plus student survey in from different faculties, and we found that about 71% of them actually do not feel comfortable in raising their hands to ask anything inside the classroom. So we thought, okay, if students cannot raise their hands or feel uncomfortable, how can we make them feel comfortable? And then we proposed a solution. We said, okay, how about if we can provide you with a platform that gives you anonymity? That is, you can ask questions without letting anyone of your peers know that you are the one who asked it. And now, astonishingly, 89% of them are totally okay with raising their hands to ask anything, because they can now ask with anonymity. And then we said, okay, how about we take a step further and we provide you with anonymity as well as you can ask questions in real time. And then astonishingly, 96% of them now are totally okay with asking questions during the lecture. So we thought, okay, that's a solution we want to strive for, because now that is what students would aim for. And hence we came up with the idea of Kwerious. Kwerious is an online platform which allows students to ask questions anonymously as well as in real time. That is, they can see the questions but they have no idea who asked it. And since they can see the questions, they can also vote on the questions so that the most modern question gets answered first in the classroom by the professor. So that's key for Kwerious. Now we'll jump right into demoing Kwerious a little bit, but before I jump right into Kwerious, as I promised, let's see if we can explore our latest launch in the market, Kwerious Desktop. So here you can see Kwerious offers a unique solution, which is a desktop application. With our new desktop application, you don't even have to switch screens if you're presenting with just one screen. So let me demonstrate it here, because this is the perfect opportunity. I don't have a different screen from here. So I'll jump right into Kwerious. So initially I logged into Kwerious platform. So www.kwerious.com, and you can register. It's free, and you can after you log in you get something like this. So first of all, the main thing to note is I'm on the present mode. Present mode might not be active for you if you are not a presenter. So in order to become a presenter, you have to get a license. So here I'm a presenter, so I'm on the present mode, and I'll open my Kwerious application. So here I would just go normally to open an application, and here we are on the application. So whatever I'll do from now on will be inside the application. As you can see, the entire experience inside the application is the same as what you see in the website. So you can use Kwerious from your application or your website. You will have the same user experience and you will be able to use in the same manner. So here, let's say we have a 10:30 session for March 1. I go inside it, and the new thing is here you will see a small pin icon at the bottom. So what this will do actually is pin your Kwerious on the screen, on the bottom right of your screen. So you can just click on it, expand it, start using it, and when you're done, just collapse it. So now let's get back to the presentation here. So you can see that Kwerious is right here. I can use it whenever I want, and I can go back whenever I want. So moving forward, so I encourage you all to, of course, keep on asking questions. So as you have questions on Kwerious, just post them in the queries tab, and you'll see that I can read all the questions and I get notifications about the questions coming in. So moving forward, so of course we try to make a lot of different things inside queries that can make your lives easier. And one thing that we have introduced is artificial intelligence. So what AI does here is it will highlight the important parts of sentence so that whenever a student asks anything, you can quickly read the question without having to delve too much into details about the sentence and quickly grasp the meaning of the question. So, of course, since Kwerious is made initially for education first, we can see here that Kwerious can also integrate with all the popular learning management systems like Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas, and so on. Basically, any LMS that integrates that supports LTI integration. So moving forward, so Kwerious has a lot of features, which include you can of course define questions as quickly as you want, and we have a new feature called ask instant questions, so that when you are teaching or when you are addressing your lecture, you can be spontaneous and think of questions right off the bat, and you don't have to spend too much time in creating the question and setting the question so that students can respond to it. You can just straight away start asking it and students can respond based on what question you describe verbally. The next thing is of course GPS attendance, and GPS attendance are stays right here. It uses GPS location of you as a professor as well as students to check if they are actually inside your classroom. So GPS attendance of course was designed before the COVID outbreak happened, but the new feature for attendance just to accommodate for online learning is coming in the next few weeks, which will allow you to have attendance even remotely. And then you can of course visualize metrics and statistics from students that will allow you to keep a track of if students are performing better and how students are performing, as well as if you want to modify your lecture or you want to curate your lecture in such a way that students are actually more responsive. So let's see, it looks like Kwerious has one new question, so let's see what the question is. So, is Kwerious anonymous to professors too? Can they see the name of the student asking the question? Yes, they can. As you can see here, I'm on the professor's mode, so I can see the questions. Question is being asked. Since I am on the presentation mode, I will not be able to. It will not show the name of student, as it should not, because the whole point of Kwerious is it should be anonymous. So students can see the questions, but professors can only professors can know who asked it. So okay, marking that as done. So let's move on here. So of course, if you are IT administrator, IT administrator at a university or college, you can obviously use query. Queries also allows you features which will make your lives much easier to manage all different professors. So we have license management, where from a single hub you can actually support all different licenses and see which professors get to use it, which professors do not use it, and so on. You can also have participation grading, and this is a new feature that was introduced after AI introduction. So when a student asks a question, they that question itself can be can be ranked up, or it can be determined to be not so good. So we have a index called quality. So the AI evaluates quality of the query that was asked by student, as well as it will see different other metrics like how consistent was student in asking questions, and so on. So it will accumulate all those metrics and create a grading based on what it understands for student. Of course, you can go in and you can give your own grading to a student, and that's highly and fully customizable. So apart from that, we have of course presenter screens for multiple displays. So some professors, and if you yourself like to use multiple displays for addressing student concerns, what you can actually have is we have a presenter screen. So you can pop up as many presenter screens as you want. What that will allow for is you can have the presenter screen permanently on your separate screen, or which can be a projector or your secondary screen. So you can have that presenter screen, and the presenter screen itself will never have any sensitive information, so you can always keep it on whenever you want. So moving on, before I move on, I see a new question here. So question is, by participating grading, do you mean it will show rankings of how many students gave a right answer and how many didn't? Here, no. By participating grading here, I mean pretty much if you're asking queries inside the platform. So if a student is asking queries, and it doesn't need to be correct or wrong. There is no right or wrong answer for a query. But if they're asking queries, and the query content, the wordings of the queries as evaluated by AI seem to be really good, they will be given a higher participation grading. And similarly, if the content is not deemed of high value, like for example, hi, how's everyone, or something like that, so the AI of course might deem it to be less useful. So here we'll jump into how questions do perform in a bit, and there you will see if they are how the students are evaluated for their responses, and the responses can be marked as correct or wrong based on the question. Marking this as done. So moving on. So Kwerious also has features for competitive mode, where there's a new mode that we have introduced in Kwerious v2. This mode is pretty much similar to other platforms, where if you are used to using, let's say, Kahoot or other competitive platforms, then you can organize a mini competition where students get to respond to a particular question. The accurate they respond and the faster they respond to a question, the more points they get. And of course, at the end, you can compete based on the points. And the next thing you all might have noticed is in Kwerious v2 we also introduced joining without registration. So what it means is basically you as a participant do not have to register to get inside Kwerious. Now, as a professor, you have complete control over whether you do want that feature or not. So let's say if you prefer students to be able to join and you do not care about whether they are validated by the platform and their email addresses are valid and so on, then you can simply say okay, you can allow them to join without registration. And if you do care about the validation, then you might want to consider the second option, which is you only allow audience members to join with registration. Of course, if you are using Kwerious inside any learning management systems like Blackboard, Moodle, and so on, you don't have to worry about the registration aspect if it is integrated. If it is integrated, all the registration happens at background, and you can rest assured that everything that students actually post on the Kwerious platform is verified, and the username, email, everything will be verified to their student accounts. So so that's pretty much all Kwerious has the features that I can talk about for now. Let's jump into a little bit of fun here before I move on. So I do have a couple of some questions prepared for everyone. So let's try and ask a couple of them, a couple of these questions. First of all, just normal without competitive mode, and then we'll jump into making it a competition. So let's jump into asking a question, and people can respond. They have 20 seconds here, 25 seconds here. So as you can see by now, if you are joining as a participant, you can read the question and choose the option which you think is best for you to answer. So I'll wait it out here. So it's 4, 3, 2, and 1. And here we have the question which is asked, and now I can show assessment, and here I see that the correct answer is number 3. Unfortunately, it looks like no responses were recorded by anyone to actually visualize. So I'm just gonna make sure that students are actually asking here. So are able to respond. So one thing I will do here is, let's see if I can share screen here. Okay, so now the whole screen should also be visible to Microsoft Teams users. I apologize not uh, for not having it earlier. I will keep in mind for all the future webinars. So moving on, so let's see if we get responses now for the second question. So let's see if anyone responds here for the second question. I'll give a few seconds extra for people to respond, and as the timer goes down, so you can see you don't have to know the exact answer, of course. You can just respond, and here we'll see that still no one has responded, but as you can see, you can visualize the question responses here, and you can see the correct answer, and all the answers will be matched by it. So before I move on, so let's see if people are getting any troubles with responding. So I'll wait for some queries to come up. If everyone is able to see the question and is able to respond, they can let me know. It may be that the platform was not able to recognize your responses, but I doubt that is the case. So please let me know if you are facing any difficulties, and we'll see what we can do about that. I'm waiting for people to let me know that they can actually see and hear everything fine. So Deepak, if you want to come off mute and let me know that you can see my screen here.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay.
I think there was some problem with my system because of which it didn't allow me to select the option
Mm-hmm.
when the question came. So let's try again. Do you want to give another
Okay.
question?
Yeah, sure. Let's try the question again, and yeah, let's see if the people can answer now. So it looks like you were not able to respond. Is there any glitches that are coming on your side, Deepak?
It just when I select the answer, it says input not allowed. I'm not sure what exactly the problem is. I'm logged into Kwerious as a user, like as a
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, we'll figure figure it out as we go on, but let's
Mhm.
try if you can participate in the competitive mode. So of course, as you can see here, that in the competitive mode you get constant feedback that you are inside the competitive mode, and you can start asking questions, and they will be asked inside the competitive mode. So considering everything goes well, you should be able to see here a little bit of different visualization. So visualization here would be based on students and not based on question itself. So it looks like no responses were able to get through, and that is fine. But here, just to make sure that we understand here, the the UI itself, user interface. So let me unpin this, and we can talk through it a little bit. So what you can see here is the layout and the user interface is pretty simple. Let's maybe that the glitch we are having, that should be resolved by today evening. So if you can join us in the evening seminar, or you can join us for even the upcoming webinars on Wednesday and Friday. We have both morning and evening sessions, so we'll try to resolve this problem as soon as possible. So as you can see here, the interface itself is just as straightforward as you can, and in the queries section, all the queries that came in. So once you go back to your office, you can click on view done, and of course look at all the questions that were asked by students, and you can just for your record purposes, and you can choose to delete them forever, or you can choose them to choose to unarchive and address them again. So that's for the queries, and now we have seen the questions, and let me show you a little bit about how you can define a question easily here. So I came out of presentation mode, so here I will not switch to queries because that exposes the name of people, but here what you can do is you can actually create a question, and this is how you can create a question. You type in whatever question you want to ask, and you can of course use all these different formatting options if you want to use them. And then we have question types. You can choose from multiple choice and true false. Coming weeks we are also targeting to add more question types here. So then you can choose the duration that students should have to answer any of these questions, and they will be, let's say, 20 seconds. And then you can keep on adding options. So we have option A, option B, and let's say the option B is the correct answer, so you can just mark correct the option B, and you can simply hit create, and the question will be created. One thing you will notice here is the initial icon. The initial icon is for your reference, so that you can understand that if a question has been asked before, it will be marked as tick, done, and if it is not asked yet, it's just created, it will be marked as pending and 3 dots. So it's for your visual reference, so you would know if you have already asked the question or not. You can of course simply expand the question, and you can modify the question or the options or the answer, and you can hit save if you modify anything. And with that, I would jump back to our presentation. So we also had the opportunity to have Kwerious piloted across different professors. One of the professors, Professor Andrea Phillips, she is from the nursing department at York University, and she tried Kwerious in her classroom. And based on her experience, she was able to completely transform the experience of her one of her information sessions that she always delivers for at the beginning of her program. So it was like a completely different experience for her, because students could actually ask her questions inside the session and not after the session like she used to have before. And with that, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to invite all of you to actually pilot Kwerious inside your classroom for some time, limited time. We are giving free Kwerious piloting inside your classroom, so you can go ahead and feel free to try it out. Just reach out to us on support@kwerious.com and let us know that you would like to try the platform in your classroom, and we'll help as much as we can. So that would obviously include any training that we can provide, and it would be a free of cost for you as well. And we will also be available for any kind of questions and support you can have inside your classroom when you're using it. With that, I'll leave it to the questions. Let's see if the questions come in and if I can address them. Alright, if there are no more if there are no more queries that are going to be asked, then we can stop the streaming. And thank you very much for joining today, and hope you have a lovely day.